Hey guys, in this video we'll be looking at Superstition by Stevie Wonder. What a great tune, great riff. This is how it goes. Okay guys, hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and in this Superstition guitar lesson we'll be looking at all the parts of the song and how to translate them onto the guitar, even though they're mostly like clav and keys based. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please click the link below to take you to our website where you'll see write-ups and tabs for this song, as well as all the other videos and hundreds of hours of other free practice material for you. So let's get started. We are, unfortunately for guitar players, in the key of E flat minor, although I know many people who put the key into E minor, so the guitarists and the bass players, and probably the keys players, have a bit of an easier time of it. But we're in E flat with the track. If you do want to put it in D, just move everything up one fret, and that gives you access to the open E string, which is why we like it so much. So the first riff is this classic one. So I've seen a lot of different iterations of this, and a lot of people play it in slightly different ways. There's a tendency to really overplay on this song, and it's really fun to jam, it's really fun to play. I've played it hundreds of times and I still love it. But it's very easy to just go a bit mad and play too much and take up too much room. And I think even though there's 2 or 3 clav tracks on the song, or at least 2 or 3 clav parts, there is still space and you can still hear stuff. But I know lots of players who will just tear into it and take all the space on their own, even though there's maybe another keys player or a bass player in there as well doing the same kind of thing. So you don't want to step on anyone's toes. This is why I'm kind of reining it back a little and doing it as close as I can to the track. So getting a lot of mutes in there to give it a bit of energy but not take up tonal space. So the first thing, nice and simple, that is 6 of the A string, 4, 6. Nice and simple rhythm. Then off to the 4 on the D string, then 4 in the B, 4 in the A, and then a mute, and then 4 and 6. So I'll try and break it down as much as I can to show you where I'm putting mutes. So in between there. And it just adds a kind of groove, a bit of funk to it. Whereas if I put another note in, it can start to sound a bit messy. And if I leave it out, it can just sound a bit empty. So I'm putting some mutes in here, just like on the clav track. So the next half, that is 4 on the E, 6, 4 on the A, 6, 4 on the D. So just in a pentatonic shape of E flat minor is where this comes from. And it's the same thing really, it's just a question and an answer phrase. So let's play it together. And even there, I'm guilty of playing it in a way that I normally play it, which isn't actually exactly as it plays. So if you listen to the track, it's actually this. So there's very little in terms of resolving every time you play it. So for absolute clarification, 6, 4, 6, 4, 4, and then 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 4 on the A. Okay, so that is the way that happens on the track. You can add or embellish it a little bit, and maybe as the song progresses you start to expand a little bit more, get a bit more energy into it, a bit of licks or some vibrato or some bends. One thing I like to do is put a quarter bend in on that first note on the D string. It just gives it a bit of sting. Or if you're a bit into this kind of vibrato, or a bit of, I don't really know what that technique's called, but I've seen bass players do it and it sounds cool. So if you're able and you're kind of happy with doing that kind of stuff, you can get a cool sound. One technique you can be aware of there, or you can just do your little quarter bends. So this is such a groovy, funky riff, you really need to put some sting on it. Here I'm just adding some little variations to it as you go along. So then that's kind of the first iteration of the riff. The second, I guess, would be the pre-chorus. Is that. So what we've got here, we've got pretty much same position. Now, just a little bit before I start this, you might recognize, or you might think you recognize this stuff from maybe like an A flat minor pentatonic position, but it's not. It's an E flat minor pentatonic, but it's in a different shape. So one that's probably not particularly familiar to a lot of people, who will start in shape 1, or the E shape as I call it. This is, to me, or through my system, a C shape for this minor pentatonic. So don't think the root's here, it's 6th fret of the A string. After that side now, so got 6th fret twice, just before that, so 6 in the A twice, play it, let the pressure off and play it again, and then 4 on the E, 5, 6, 4 on the A string, back to 6 on the E string, and then 6 on the A string. And then 6, 4, 6. And now here we come a break in the position. Sliding from the 6th of the D to the 8th. Then off to the 4 of the D, and then back to the 6th of the E, okay? So you break that position to get the technique of the slide in it, because it sounds a bit better than, that's just a bit wet, I think. It doesn't have that cool kind of groove to it. Sounds much better, in my opinion. So I do a slide there. So playing this slowly. And again, I'm going to put a little quarter bend on that 4th fret of the D string, and I do that pretty much wherever I can, anytime that note on the D string comes up. So let's play this bit a little bit faster, see if you can play along. And again, I've talked about dynamism or dynamics really in your playing. Now this is such a cool riff that you really dig into it. You don't be timid, don't be afraid of hitting it. Smack it and get the string to snap back. And then put some vibrato on it, put some stink on it. That's how you make it sound really cool and really funky. Get your vibrato, get your slides and your little quarter bends in, and that's when it starts to kick. Not, it's not. It's just lacking that extra bit of bite. So vibrato, slides, bends where you can, and smack the strings. Really, really hit them. So the next part is the chromatic horn section, which is interesting, but it's just 7th chords. So it's a B7, sorry, B flat 7. So if you haven't seen this shape before, it just comes from an E shape, so an E bar chord on the 6th fret, and then to make it dominant 7, you lift your pinky off, and you're left with a B flat 7. Now, I don't suggest playing, unless of course you've only got one guitar, I wouldn't play this bar chord. If you've got more than just a guitar and a bass, if you've got more than that, don't play the bar chord because you take up too much space. So what I do is take the notes on the E, the A and the high E out. Well, not necessarily the high E, you can keep that in. So take the low E and the A string out. So get that shape, take those strings out, and you're left with 6 on the D, 7 on the G, 6, 6. It's just a bit easier at that in terms of listening, not crowded. And then really you move this shape up, so B flat, next chord is a B, so just move the same thing up 1 fret, then back down, B flat. And now we've got an interesting one. So that is 5 of the D, 6 of the G, 4 of the B. And what that is, when there's a bass note on it, is an A7 flat 5. Is what that chord is, which is really cool. I won't go too much into the theory behind it, but basically the bass notes are doing this. So there's a way of harmonizing that in between that chromatic note in a way that sounds good. So with the bass chords, you can hear it moving, and it actually works really nicely, even though it's quite far out of the key. So we've got that 5, 6, 4, and then we're just going to the same shape as before, that dominant 7 shape that we used for the B flat and the B. Now it's an A flat on the 4th fret, and then B flat, and it's 1 and 2 and. So playing this section so it makes a bit of sense. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Nice and simple, really effective, really cool. And again, you can put some vibrato on the neck to give those chords a bit of spice. And the last section is that horn descending line. So the way I do it is sliding from the 6th fret of the G to the 8th, bit of vibrato, then 6, 5, 3, 5, 6 on the A. So and vibrato where you can, makes it come alive. Really simple. So let's take all the parts. We'll do 2 each. I'll let you know when we're going to change to the next part, and they're just going to go in order that I've shown you. Let's start from the start and see if we can get our way through it. We'll play nice and slow, okay? Here we go. And, ooh, cut there. I always, bloody, you know what, I always get confused with this and play that funky music, white boy. Always play the wrong thing. Okay, ready, so we'll just cut to where it's about to start. Okay, and, oh, I've launched in way too fast. Sorry, Dan, having a mare here. Try it again. Okay, okay, here we go. To the next section. Next section, chords. And the horn line. And there you go, there you have it. Now, as to imagine, say you're playing with another guitar player or keys player or something, over that part is just the verse riff or this normal riff. So if you're playing that for someone else, it's just that normal part that goes on underneath that. And that's it really. Such a funky song. Don't overplay it, is what my advice would be if you come to playing it in front of people, playing in a band situation. Keep it funky, but keep it restrained. Give yourself that room to move with it as the song progresses. Then when it gets to the last part, you can blast it if you want. I've heard a lot of people play this song really, really well, but I've heard a lot of bands just kind of over-egg it a little bit, and I think it loses that swagger that the song has. Like, it's so funky and so groovy, you can't hear it and not dance, but there's ways you can play it that just keeps it more refined, I think, and that's what I've been trying, hopefully succeeding in showing you how to do. Okay guys, that's been it from me. Good luck with the practice, and I'll catch you next time.